Hello, very dear one, and welcome to the Psychic Garden. Today I'm very excited to do this reading about Pluto and its journey through the skies. So I will do an introduction, but if you know what I'm talking about when I say that we are integrating the time of Pluto in Capricorn, then you might just as well go straight to the introduction. The introduction is precisely about this. Just details about Pluto and Capricorn. So it entered Capricorn in 2008 at the beginning, but then it went back into Sagittarius for some time, then back into Capricorn, and it's been there since November 2008. If you have your natal Pluto either in Virgo, Libra, or Scorpio, you went through an important aspect with Pluto in Capricorn, which would have been sextile, square, or trine. Okay? This means that during this period of Pluto in Capricorn, you went through an important transformation in your life, integration of your journey, recapitulation of what's happening, reassessment of circumstances, and so on. Pluto. So this is the work we are doing right now. What happened when Pluto was in Capricorn for your life and for the collective? What do we learn from that? How can we bring the learning from that into Aquarius when Pluto is moving into Aquarius? What do we, again, integrate from that season? Let's see what your guides and the collective guides want us to know. This is a very, very collective reading because Pluto marks generations. And both your generation were marked in an important way. My generation, all our generations were marked in an important way by Pluto being in Capricorn. But also, specifically you, depending on where you have your Pluto in the natal chart, you were influenced in a special way. So there are going to be both messages for the collective in this reading, but also special things for you. You will see. You will detect the messages when they come out as they refer to your path. Illumination. Powerful and promising. Yeah. So, ideation. Wow. Very, very mental. And it's precisely what tools did we get from grounded Capricorn now that we are going into Aquarius to bring to our mind? Yeah. Also, how did your spirituality change from 2008 onwards? Was there some specific spiritual thing that happened for you in 2008 that changed everything for you, that gave you the ground to move into the future? This could be in 2008 or later during the season, depending on where you have your natal Pluto. So if your Pluto is at, let's say, 10 degrees, then the most important part of the season was 2008 to 2013, and so on. You can look into your own chart to see this type of peculiarities if you get curious. But let's talk about the reading. What your guides want you to know now is that anything that happened in the last 15 years was for the sake of the internal awakening of your mind, and when I say internal, it's very personal. It doesn't have to be out there and so explicit. It's an internal knowledge of okay, this is who I am. This is what I can do with my own self as a spiritual being. There was something that ignited this knowledge in you, and it brought you to the certainty that mind precedes matter, that the energetic world generates the physical one, that you as a spiritual being are, first of all and foremost, than a body, that your ideas are manifesting in the world as things. This is the knowledge you gained. This is kind of the experience you gained, the knowledge you gained, and it's type of this knowledge what is going to help you navigate this new Pluto in Aquarius. Now where we are really going into air element. So right now is something you learned, but are going to be using and putting into practice much more in this new season. Yeah. Now we are precisely integrating what things came to us during this season. Let me see what you're thinking of this, what your guides are thinking of this. Do they agree? Do you don't want storm? Loss? Yeah. And community. Okay. Again, so this is very Aquarian community. It's again saying it's a preparation for the world of ideas and ideals brought to the community. Storm and loss. So it's a time right now to look into, I'm sure that during the last 15 years, you had some tough times, because you're a human being in a human experience. Look into those tough times. It's important today as a soul task to sit down with just one experience that could have happened between 2008 and today. That both in the external circumstances, everything seemed just like a storm, literally, but that also to your internal being brought an important loss. This is kind of saying, yes, there's a fire in the forest, but my house is also burning down. So, just a trivial question, how did the pandemic affected you? And not everyone experienced a loss in the pandemic. So if this is not a time in which this storm created a loss for you, ask another question. What environmental condition affected you personally during these years? I have an example. For me, it was a political and social movement, for example. So I just give my example because it doesn't have to be so loud as the pandemic. But for me, it was very clear and precisely, I think, this is the type of things, because Capricorn is a sign of politics. So what could you have felt lost in an environment of thriving for better politics, of social activism, and that this might have not worked in the best way for everyone? So you felt the loss of hope, maybe, the loss of identity. If I can't fight for this, who am I? If we are not fighting for this together, then what happens to my life purpose? Also, any type of conflict in your community, as we have to acknowledge war and conflict between countries. if you are in a dangerous zone for some reason because of violence, what losses has this brought to you? And we are not here to just cry about the past, you know? It's that acknowledging this moment is an opportunity to see what light you found there, what brought you to kind of an awakening in the sense of making sense of things out of this loss. How did you make sense to yourself after feeling lost, after losing yourself in this situation? It's very, very, very important and very clear, and I hope that you are getting what I mean, because I cannot say it more clear. Let's see what the tarot has to tell us about integrating this time of Pluto in Capricorn. Wow, 9 of Pentacles. It's beautiful, earth energy. And now I have the Hierophant. Strong. Strong and the Fool. Okay. I love it. Because we have the 9 of Pentacles. This, you want some independence of this, from this situation. So there was some type of collective movement, loss, storm, that took you to a place of loss. From there, you could redefine yourself, redefine your path, and you could become a stable individual that knows how to take care of themselves. Of course, it's never perfect. Of course, we're always learning, but that gained a lot of abilities to care for themselves. Always in a better way, always in a better way. So how have you learned to take care of yourself from this past 15 years? I'm sure that in many ways, acknowledge those. It's time to acknowledge those. To know that you're not only carrying material goods for your future, but also a lot of wisdom. You know, here, this person in the 9 of Pentacles is having a conversation with a very old wise bird. This is representing wisdom. How can you have internal conversations with yourself, with your wise self? How do you encounter your wise self through this season of Pluto in Capricorn? And if you want to talk about wisdom, we have a Hierophant. Not only a person being able to honor their own wisdom, but to share it with others. This is kind of the transition. This is Pluto 0 degrees going into Aquarius. You are prepared to share your wisdom with the world. The Fool is completely Aquarian energy. You are in this point of getting to bigger communities, to better changes for the Commonwealth, of being... Your guides want you to know this, because it's like you're not believing it. Your guides want you to know that there's something very important that happened during this Capricorn season, that you must not forget how you awakened yourself in that feeling of loss. And how can you share this with others? What is in you to be shared from this experience, and how can you put it out in the world? What are your talents, and how does your voice resonate. Your voice doesn't have to be precisely in words, but also any type of communication, abstract communication, such as art, the way you move your body, even the way you dress yourself communicates something. How are you integrating your wisdom and being aligned with your own knowledge in the way you present yourself in the world more authentically, presenting yourself more authentically, knowing what authenticity is and means, and pushing this forward. And we had actually a lot of activity in Sagittarius when Pluto entered Capricorn. So it's a fire sign. We had a big conversation in a fire sign. And it's precisely this behind. It's the only place where I see it's hidden. It's kind of hidden because we are moving through in an earth element. But the fire is there. Sagittarius was, the Sun was in Sagittarius, Mars was in Sagittarius, Mercury was in Sagittarius, the Moon, and all of them were conjunct. Okay, so there was a big conversation, kind of initiating this path of Pluto in Capricorn at that point. And the conversation of authenticity is all about fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And how did you integrate this authenticity, this fire, and are now put it into the world with this air energy? It's transforming as you show up for others. You show up from this knowledge of who you are. You are fed up with, you learned actually through this stormy type of events that you have to stand up for your truths, and you are fed up, or the losses that this brought taught you that it doesn't make sense to act as someone else expects you to act, that you're not going to do that again, because you lose yourself in that. You lose yourself once and again. So it also taught you how to be authentic and integrate yourself into communities. This is the next step. This is coming. This can be, right now, you might feel even like you've isolated for too long. Well, it was a process of authenticity, of finding yourself, finding that fire, grounding. How do I ground myself? What is my path? What is my purpose? So on. And then, of course, sometimes you have to do this by yourself so that you can separate your own beliefs from others, go into your own values and see them up front without all the noise that you can get from an environment. Separate. And this is what got you ready to now integrate to a community. So it wasn't time before. It's becoming time. It's becoming more and more aligned with the energies that are now going to be available to us. And I'm going to do another row of 3 for this reading to see if there is anything that I am leaving out. Five of Wands, Ace of Cups. I didn't expect water energy to come through, but it's coming for a reason. Okay. They wanted to have the hidden card. They love to do that on me. Yeah, so I'm feeling a lot of the Aries energy, that it's going to be ignited when we go into this first dip into Aquarius season. And the Ace of Cups is saying to emotionally take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself, because you're going to feel this internal conflict of how are you going to be integrated this Aries power that you have won now with the community. The first step is to know that you are emotionally cared for. So how are you emotionally showing up for yourself? And then to acknowledge those people that are emotionally accompanying you through the journey. So start little. Yeah, this is what it's saying. You're kind of in an internal conflict of how am I going to really be able to bring my knowledge to a community, to a collective which doesn't understand me. And the way of doing it is to start little, to start by being very compassionate with yourself through your emotions, noticing the waves, acknowledging that we all go through, every day is different emotionally, and it's okay. And you know how to do that now because you went through this period here above. So you know how to do that now. So start little and then just gather with the Three of Cups with those people which also celebrate you, which all are also an emotional support. So yes, you are ready to be an emotional support for the community, but the community also wants to be that for you. There's also the the possibility to reach to communities which can be emotionally available for you. Which are those communities that are emotionally available for you? Where do you find those? You might even find those in, well, here it's very grounded. So they have the Two of Pentacles back here. So, because, yes, you have the support from your guides, from the spirit, from stories, from, this is very important. Women tribes. You have that support. It doesn't matter if you identify yourself as male or female or whatever gender, but you have the woman tribes are very important to recognize now. This is an important support. The female tribes, the female powerful collective, the wild feminine that is in all of us. How do you connect with others with this complicity? And of course, I was going into this realm of the spirit, but here the Two of Pentacles is saying, and it's a grounded community. It's a community that is manifest in the physical. So you actually might avoid that, might go straight to I have my guides, I have my angels, I have my practice, but it's time to bring this to an exchange of energy with other people. It's like this spiritual dimension that we have explored through this season with Pluto in Capricorn, that we became aware of because we were grounded enough to become aware of, is now starting to manifest in the material. Now that we go into the air element of Aquarius, we're going to be able to bring this back to our world, to the material. So it's even like, instead of praying to spirit, you're going to be praying to your friends because you know your friends are powerful. You have powerful friends within your community, which can do spiritual favors for you, and you can do it for them also. So this is kind of this exchange of spiritual healing between us. How can you interchange this knowledge with the community? This is what's going to unite us. And this is what the collective is prepared now to do. With love, with the Ace of Cups, with love, with commitment to our purpose, with the Hierophant. Knowing how to go through differences. So we have 2 5s here, and the Hierophant is a very powerful card, and that knows, that integrates, that it's honest, that it's straightforward, that can lead. And the Hierophant is most powerful when it can validate the differences between cultures and communities. So how can we collectively grow, but at the same time acknowledge the differences and celebrate them? Because the 5 of Wands is that challenge. How can you acknowledge the differences and celebrate them? So that not to be divided. We had to be divided at some point here with this storm and laws and so on. We had to be divided to find our individual selves. But now that we have found them, we see, we mirror, we find both equal-minded people and then not so equal-minded, but we are all in with the work being done and ready to acknowledge the differences between us and celebrate them here with the 3 of Cups. Okay? So I love the fact that the Fool is here, inviting us to just dive into Pluto into Aquarius. And of course, the water energy had to come through because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. And this is how it's presenting. And it's beautiful that it's presenting in a straightforward way and in a loving way, in the purest honesty that it's also there in the Scorpio sign. And it's in full power with this celebration of communities. Okay, so I thank you a lot for coming to this space and for integrating with me this knowledge. I wish you all the best and invite you to share, like, and subscribe and stay around. Thank you.